And he said, this will bring great joy to the Moroccan people if miscreants are dealt with this kind of justice. We haven't told people who we are. We're letting other people define who we are. We're letting other people tell us who we are. They're saying, this is an evil group. These are devil worshippers. These are people that are violent people. Really, violent. There's Afghanis in here. Peaceful people. Trying to get by. Leaving their jobs. Like the Bengali taxi driver in New York City. Simple Muslim. Probably prayed 5 times a day. He had a beard. And the man says to him, are you a Muslim? And he says, yes. Not ashamed. He could have said, no, I'm not a Muslim, I'm Hindu. But he said, I'm a Muslim. The man said, Salaam alaikum, and then he took a knife out and slit his throat and missed his jugular vein. He could have killed that man. He could have killed that man. This is the type of environment that has been created by the seeds of hatred that have been sown in the hearts of too many people in this country. Americans generally are patient people. They're patient people. You know that. You've lived in this country. Those of you who are immigrants, you've lived long enough to know that. That people here generally are good people. They're patient people. But if you brainwash people, if you give them messages day in and day out, they will begin to believe those messages. And then they can do the most heinous things. They can do the most heinous things. Our houses are increasingly becoming less safe in this country. Our masajid are increasingly becoming less safe in this country. We've had now several masajid since the Mosque 51, the Park 51 incident. Several masajid have been abused in this country, including Fresno, California, right down the road. The people doing this are often, they're not bad people per se. They're not evil people. كَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَّا لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ عَمَلَهُم. We make each group think what they're doing is good. These people think they're doing something good. These are evil people. We have to stop them because they've been brainwashed. If the Muslims don't wake up and recognize, one, the immense opportunity that we have for the first time in the history of this country since the beginning of this country, in which people were very interested in Islam. This is a fact. In this country, early on, because of the problems with Libya, the problems with Algeria, the first country to recognize the United States of America was Morocco. Benjamin Franklin, in his autobiographies, when there was a preacher that came to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, the first capital of the United States, there was a preacher that came and he had such an impact. The other preachers envied him, which is often the case when you have somebody who's effective in what they do, you have the enviers. And they wanted to prohibit this person from speaking anywhere in the city of Philadelphia. Benjamin Franklin said, I noted a change in the character of people since the coming of this man to Philadelphia. The people were actually behaving more with brotherly love, like Philadelphia. So you know what he said? I'm going to build a house that is free for anybody to say something good. Even if the Mufti of Constantinople wanted to come and tell the American people about Islam, he would find an open place in my setting here. This is the founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson, who said that he wanted to see an America that was safe for every type of Christian, every Jew, every Muslim, every Mohammedan. This is in his own writing. Every Mohammedan, every Hindu, for the Hindus, and for even the atheists of every stripe. This was the dream of these early people. They did not want to see the type of religious bigotry that existed in Europe, where people fought wars over what people believed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Say the truth from your Lord. Whoever wants to believe, let him believe. Whoever wants to disbelieve, let him disbelieve. لا إكراه في الدين. لا إكراه في الدين. There's no coercion in this religion. قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. Things are clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَآمَنَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كُلُّهُمْ جَمِيعًا. If Allah wanted, everybody in the earth would believe. They would all be believers. If Allah wanted, He could do that. But what does He say? No. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَآمَنَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كُلُّهُمْ جَمِيعًا أَفَأَنْتَ تُكِرْهُ النَّاسَ حَتَّى يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ? Do you think you can force people to become believers? We're not out to convert the world. Muslims have never been out to convert the world. Really. Because our own book tells us you can't convert the world. But all you can do is tell people, if they want to come in, welcome. If they want to stay out, you're free to do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالصَّابِينَ وَالنَّصَارَى وَالْمَاجُوسَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَفْصِلُ بَيْنَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Those who believe, those who are Jews, those who are Sabians, those who are Christians, those who are Magians, those who are idolaters, polytheists, all the groups, Allah will sort them out on the Day of Judgment. Just be patient. Be patient. Nobody's in a hurry. The day is coming, and Allah says, I'll make everything clear. ثُمَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ مَرْجِعُهُمْ. And then on that day, I'll send them back to their Lord. I'll send them back to their Lord. فَيُنَبِّئُهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. He will explain to them what they were doing. That's immediately after كَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَّا لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ عَمَلَهُم. And like that, we made every group think what they were doing was good. And then Allah says, I'm going to explain to them what they were doing. We have an immense opportunity. Shakespeare says, there's a tide in the affairs of men, which if taken at the flood, right, leads on to ventures, a fortune, right, you get success. Omitted, then you spend your life in shallows and miseries. Upon such a sea are we now afloat. This is the time to tell people about Islam, who we are. Don't let other people define us. They have tools. We have tools too. The internet has democratized mass media. You can have more impact on the internet than you can on CNN if you're clever enough. There's YouTube videos now that have more people see those videos than see O'Reilly at any given time, or Fox News. Muslims have to be creative. Tell people who you are. Really. If you can't do it yourselves, then empower those who are doing it. We have groups, Islamic Networks group, that's going out and teaching people about Islam, explaining to them what Islam is. Not to proselytize, to inform. Thomas Cleary said Americans can't even think about thinking about Islam. So we have to break down the barriers. We have to let them know who we are. This is an immense opportunity, people. The Prophet ﷺ asked for one thing from Quraysh. خَلُّوا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Just let me talk to people. Don't stop me. Don't prevent me. Just let me talk to people. That's all the Prophet ﷺ asked. خَلُّوا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ النَّاسِ. He didn't want to fight. لَا تَتَمَنَّوْا لِقَاءَ الْعَدُوِّ. Don't desire to meet your enemy. The Prophet ﷺ didn't want to fight. He was not a murderer. حَشَاهُ. He was rahmatah. He was مَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He was a mercy to all the world. He loved guidance for people. He loved good for people. He praised the Jews when they did praiseworthy things. He praised the Christians when they did praiseworthy things. He praised the mushrikeen when they did praiseworthy things. About Hilf al-Fudul, he said, I witnessed an alliance of virtue in the Jahiliyyah. If I was called to it in Islam, I would answer. The Prophet was not a fanatic, hashahu. He was not a prude. He was never an angry person. He said, La taghdab. Don't get angry. Outrage is not anger. There are times to be outraged. There's times for indignation. Muslims should be outraged, but so should good Americans. People that are out there should be outraged at the type of prejudice, at the type of violence being directed to Muslims. They should be outraged. Is this the country that they want their children to grow up in? Increasingly looking like a fascist country if these things will continue? If these ideas proliferate? Is this the type of a country? Chris Hedges